Hello, welcome to Making Noise Off the Record, your additional extra for the Making Noise podcast. Mark, how are you, mate?
Not too bad, not too bad. How are you
Good.
doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. So for those of you who might be new to the show, I say that we're all new to the show. It's only episode, what we calling it, 1.5. Obviously,
1.5, like Jackass.
yes, I like it. So this is an additional extra. This won't be going out on the radio. This is just going to be on the website, maybe on the YouTube channel a little bit later down the line. But it's a little additional extra. We'll do them regularly for all of the things that we maybe don't have time to discuss on the normal show. As I said, this isn't a normal show. This is an additional extra. So if you do want to listen to episode 1 of Making Noise, you can find that on our brand new website, which we'll come on to in a minute, making-noise.com under podcasts, and it'll take you then through to the Pure West Radio podcast link. So, Mark, what were your thoughts on episode 1? How do you think it went?
I think, it could have gone a hell of a lot worse considering that, there were quite a few changes that we're making to the show. But overall, I think we did pretty damn good. We did pretty damn good. There were a couple of little hiccups, a couple of little things we discussed afterwards that we could have done probably better. But I think we're all kind of bricking it as well.
I think one of the things that we have to remember, and maybe give ourselves a bit of a break, we're all perfectionists, and we all want to do the best that we possibly can. So naturally, we're going to be critical of our own performances and everything else. And I think that was always going to happen. What we need to remember is it was a pilot. It was not only a pilot.
Yeah.
It was the first ever Making Noise show. It's we've all worked together on radio before on a previous show called Pure West Presents. But completely different structure. We were in the studio back then.
Or not much of one, rather.
Well, yeah. This time we're from our own homes. We're using different technology. Really, really bizarre. Overall, I thought it was a really good experience. I think
just to mention to that, I might need to dip it if my internet does screw up. I might need to dip out and come back in again. So just be prepared.
Well, that's absolutely fine. I think these little off-the-record podcasts, I don't think it's expected that they're going to be professional. We haven't got a structure. Like with episode 1 of Making Noise, it was very structured. We knew what was coming up and all of the content. This is literally just off the cuff, off the record. I think one of the issues with the first episode, and again, just being critical because we are perfectionists and we do want to be the best. I think one of the issues was timing. For me,
sure.
As the kind of show lead, I completely forgot how short 2 hours was. I don't know about you. It
goes so fast, man.
Absolutely.
That was crazy. That I think that was probably it felt like the fastest the show's ever gone.
We had about 3 shows worth of content there between the music, the discussion.
Yeah.
We had some great new features, the cover up. That was really exciting. I really, really enjoyed that.
That was cool.
We obviously had in the spotlight on episode 1, it was London-based 4-piece alt rock band 26th Avenue. They were amazing. They've got a brand new album out called Fuel the Fire. All of the information on that is on making-noise.com. One of my favorite features moving forward, Mark, and one that I'm really excited to see where it goes and who we discuss and things like that, is stick to the day job. Now, tell me a little bit about stick to the day job, because it's going to be your little baby, isn't it?
It's my little baby. I like to think of it as my little baby. So, I mean, basically, we're asking the question whether or not people should stick to the day job, and usually it's concerning, I guess it's going to be concerning actors or people of a high profile that are famous for maybe one particular career path that then go into music.
Now,
and we then ask that question.
Normally, I think on projects like this, you'd maybe start small, work your way up. We haven't done that. We went straight in. We went straight in.
Maybe a mistake on that one.
Yeah, we peaked on episode 1. It's ironic, isn't it? But talk to me a little bit about Sir Christopher Lee. And before we do actually, Mark, sorry, I think it's fair to put a little disclosure out, because I know that people sometimes get a little bit wound up.
Sure.
It's really important to remember with this feature, it's just a bit of fun. And we absolutely encourage everybody, regardless of capability and talent and
To not
whatever
stick
else,
to the day job.
to
Don't stick to the day.
please express yourself with music. It's what
Yeah.
it's there for. Even if you're absolutely crap, it doesn't matter. Just do it. Just enjoy it.
I mean,
We are absolutely. Christ, thank God we're never going to be playing Down with the Enemy on the show. People will then be telling someone to stick to the day job.
Yeah, we'll do ourselves. It'll be great.
So Christopher Lee.
I mean, I can't actually remember how much. I think it was all a bit of a blur at the end, so I can't remember how much I actually got through.
Yeah, we just ran out of time.
To kind of like, we just ran out of time.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, we all, most people are going to know, even the sort of Zoomers are going to know like who Christopher Lee is. You know, he's a famous actor. He had a varied amount of roles, but if there's one thing that we all remember him for, is the fact that he played a real badass villain.
Mm-hmm.
It was always, he played just some of the best villains ever. You know, I mean, who's your favorite? I mean, we got a long list here.
My favorite Christopher Lee character.
Yeah.
Role. I'm a massive nerd. As you can see in the background there, I've got my big Marvel poster.
I think we're both nerds here.
Right here on my desk. I've got my
Magic the Gathering cards next to me.
I've got my Star Wars merchandise. So naturally, it's going to be something sci-fi. And there's two really for me that it comes down to. It's the Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, where he played Saruman and Count Dooku.
You know, I was going to say the same, but you know, when I kind of completely forgot that he played this character for such a long time, until I kind of rewatched the part of the other day. Now I agree. I mean, Saruman, in terms of like character, just was the best. You know, he was just awesome. He seemed to really encapsulate. I think I loved him in Star Wars, but I know I'm going at low bearing fruit here, but when you put him then next to Hayden Christensen, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's always going to kind of take from that a little bit of performance. I'm not dissing on Hayden Christensen. I love Hayden Christensen.
Speaking of which, I actually forgot there's Darth Vader down here. Can you see him? I got like a 4-foot Darth Vader. And
I swear I've seen him before.
You have.
I'm very jealous of him.
I'm
very jealous of him.
There's people who are going to be listening to this instead of watching it, thinking, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
we'll make sure that the video's up somewhere.
But I mean, like, yeah, you know, like, he was awesome in Star Wars. I think as Saruman, he just seemed that little bit more intimidating and powerful. But I completely forgot that he played Francisco Scaramanga in The Man with the Golden Gun.
Yes.
In James Bond. And even that, you know, he is so chilling and so charming as well. And obviously it was at a slightly earlier time when he was still, you know, got to be in his 50s, at least 60s maybe. But terrifying, you know, and just absolutely terrifying. Just a real testament to the diversity of bad guys that he could bring. You know, it was very, very familiar, very, very Christopher Lee, but you know, all, you know, 50 Shades of Lee. That's what it was. It was 50 Shades of Lee, 50 Shades of Villainous Lee.
And there's kind of something for so many different generations as well, because you and I would know him from these types of roles. Obviously, his career spans back hundreds of years, it seems. You know, some massive roles like Dracula. But then when I was prepping for, I was doing a little bit of work on the website actually, and doing the Christopher Lee article, which you've written, we'll talk about that in a bit. My daughter comes in and says, that's Willy Wonka's dad. And of course,
oh my God,
you know,
yeah,
in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake, he plays Johnny Depp, Willy Wonka's dad.
Yeah, no, I think that is really true. I completely forgot about that movie, mostly because Johnny Depp absolutely terrified me.
Oh, so creepy. Let's have a bit of a lowdown then, because I know that you tried to cram loads in, and that's part of why we're doing an off-the-record
doing this podcast
now, because I do feel like we went in so big, and it does deserve almost its own show. So give us the breakdown now on the off-the-record podcast that you were going to give if I'd have managed the time a little bit better on episode 1. So,
I mean, aside from like the 200 plus movie and TV shows he's been credited with, he's done a lot more. Now, prior to being on the silver screen, which actually happened pretty soon after this, he was actually in the military. And he did, well, allegedly anyway, he did quite a bit. he started off before actually joining in World War II. He actually aided the Finns against Russia in the Winter War of 1939. I'm not entirely read up on the Winter War, but for me, it was the fact that he was already kind of throwing his 2 cents in the game before the biggest war of history had more or less started. From there, he joined as an intelligence officer in the RAF in 1940, and he decoded German ciphers, probably partly to do with the fact that he could speak so many languages. We'll get onto that a little bit later on. I'm kind of going from what I've written for the article, which we'll also mention. So yeah, he decoded German ciphers. After that, I know I'm just going to pull it up actually because my other one is a little bit more. Just want to get it completely right. So I mean, he joined the Long Range Desert Group, the LRDG, which was precursor to the SAS, and at one point went behind enemy lines to sabotage airfields and Luftwaffe planes. I mean, this is crazy. And then after that, he joined the Special Operations Executive, conducting recon, espionage, and sabotage in occupied Europe. And it was sort of like around this time, just nearing the end of the war, as far as I can tell, which is kind of probably one of the most badass things that I think you could probably do, is exactly what he did, which was hunt Nazi war criminals. I mean, it's a terrifying thought. I've got to think, you've got to think about it. He's pretty terrifying in movies just as it is, but to have him interrogate you, that's got to be something else.
Yeah.
I mean, and he hunted Nazi war criminals. In fact, he said he was, we were given dossiers of what they had done and told to find them, interrogate them as much as we could, and hand them over to the appropriate authority. And he said interrogate. I don't know what that means in terms of interrogate, especially when you're dealing with a Nazi. That could mean anything. But what I will say is that during I think I mentioned this on the show, but during filming of The Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson tried directing him on how to act when he was stabbed, to which he just turned around, just said, nope, but that's not what happens. He said, no one screams when you stab them. They give out like a low sigh as they clamber for the breath, the last breath that they have.
Oh my God.
Which I can imagine, again, to hear that would have been absolutely terrifying. I mean, aside from that, he also, and I haven't put this in, but I haven't mentioned this actually in the article, but he actually witnessed firsthand the concentration camps, some, quote, cleaned up, some not, which, I mean, he would have seen some horrific things. I mean, one source I saw said apparently he nearly died twice during the war. So he saw, pardon my French, but he saw some shit. He saw some stuff. But there is a slight caveat to this, and I'm gonna be honest here. I'm a little bit biased, and I'm choosing to keep it. But there are a couple of sources that are kind of saying that maybe he sort of embellished a few of the stories that he had, maybe told a couple of porkies. I don't know. I gotta say it, no disrespect to anyone, obviously, who fought or anything. I kind of want it to be true, and therefore I'm kind of fine if it's a myth. Then I'm happy for it to be a myth.
Yeah.
And the thought of like Christopher Lee hunting down Nazis during World War II and like sabotaging airfields, it's a pretty good one. And
when,
I think
when you look at what he went on to achieve and some of the roles that he played, there is some kind of I was going to say fairy tale, but almost on the other side, villainy. In that you, like you said, you almost hope it's true because it just makes him even more badass.
I think that Christopher Lee is a bit of an enigma. I've said that in the article actually. He's very enigmatic. He was very quite mysterious. Everyone seemed to know who he was, but there are certain things he wouldn't talk about. Now, some of these articles that say he was telling lies or whatever, and he wasn't allowed to talk about it. And apparently that's the thing. Apparently there's no real thing that says that you can't talk about it necessarily. But you don't know. I mean, like, I think we'll never really know. And I don't think that for me anyway, is a massive factor. I'm gonna say that for whatever way you look at it, he served his country. He defended people against, he defended, you know, freedom against the Nazis, and that's what I'm taking away from it. But then we move on from that, you know, and you know, I'm going with that. He had a pretty distinguished military career. Moving on from that, I briefly mentioned it before, but he was a multilingualist of 12 different languages. 12 different languages. Fluent in Italian, Spanish, French, and German. Proficient in Greek, Russian, and Swedish. And apparently could even speak conversationally fluent Mandarin.
Wow.
I mean,
that is just incredible.
What kind of brain do you need to have to be able to do that? I can barely fit my own language in, let alone. I mean, like, I'm Welsh. I've never, I don't know a whole Welsh sentence, let alone Russian. You know, I mean, like, that's just off the wall. And then of course we you know, we'll get to the piece de la résistance, which is, you know, in his older years, decided, yeah, that's it, I'm going to make a metal album, you know. And this wasn't the first time he'd gone into or had done something with music. So I mean, he had actually oh god, sorry, yeah, so he actually already loaned his voice to many film soundtracks, including The Wicker Man, the closing credits to Funny Man, and most notably the superhero comedy musical The Return of Captain Invincible. Admittedly, I haven't watched those. I think they're a little bit, I've watched The Wicker Man, not the Christopher Lee version. I watched the Nicolas Cage version, which is probably not quite as good, but for comedic value, it's Nicolas Cage, so what can you say? But he became interested in metal in the 70s after hearing Black Sabbath, which, I mean, it's easy to, you know, you can make those connections there. Here's a really good bad guy listening to some really ear blistering metal. It's a good thing. It's good things are going to come from it. But he didn't then provide any sort of contribution to metal until 2005, where he provided vocals to Rhapsody of Fire's song The Magic of the Wizard's Dream, and in the same year contributed to Manowar's re-recorded Battle Hymns album, reciting a spoken word passage originally performed by Orson Welles on the song Dark Avenger. But then in 2010, he took the plunge and made his very own metal album called Charlemagne by the Sword and the Cross. And it was a dramatic symphonic metal album that detailed the life of the first Holy Roman Emperor, Charlemagne. Which is just kind of cool when you think about it. I mean, a lot of metal tells a lot of story, a lot of like sort of symphonic metal, and they tend to be very dramatic and tell like sort of maybe mythological stories or historical based stories, or take that influence. But this is like, you know, detailing the life of Charlemagne, which I thought was really, really quite original, quite cool. And then a couple of years later, he released Charlemagne: The Omens of Death, and that was actually arranged by the current Judas Priest guitarist Richie Folker. Yeah, so I mean,
wow.
And by the time he released his second album, the most recent one, he was 91.
Do you know what,
What do you think you're going to be doing at 91?
Well, not that.
Just ask that question.
I think that it's one of the things that impresses me about him the most, and particularly his music career, is that not that metal has any kind of cutoff in terms of age. You know, if you're doing it all your life and then doing it in your 90s, then you think, do you know what, fair play to you for be doing that. But the fact that he kind of started so late, that it's like, do you know what, I've hunted Nazis, I've been in some of the biggest films you know, in Hollywood. What can I do now? I know I'm going to record a metal album.
Oh, there's a meme like this. This is like when you're playing an RPG game and you completed all the main missions and now you're just doing the side quests.
Yeah,
you know,
this
is he just decided at the end of his life, you know, I'm just going to do some of the craziest stuff I can think of. I'm going to do my own metal album. Why not? And yeah, he did. I mean, he released 2 metal Christmas albums. You know,
I said on the main show on episode 1,
Yeah.
we're going to have to sort something out for like a Christmas special and play some of these tracks.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, like Silent Night, the Little Drummer Boy. This would have been. It's just great. I mean, he could have just released a normal Christmas album. Probably would have made a little bit out of that. But he's like, nope. You know what? We're gonna make some crushing metal,
It's incredible.
and parody some good old Christmas songs. Which, yeah, amazing. A year before passing, then he made an EP called The Metal Night for his 92nd birthday, and then also received the Spirit of Metal Award by Tony Iommi at the Metal Hammer Golden Gods show in 2010. In fact, apparently they had a conversation prior to that saying, Christopher Lee apparently told Tony Iommi, you're the godfather of metal. And he actually turned around and said, no, because technically you are, because it was watching your movies like Dracula that inspired me to come out with a lot of the music that we now are all influenced by. So actually, Christopher Lee had a bigger influence probably on a lot of the metal genre and a lot of things that you and me listen to regularly.
Than
even he realized, or even most of us would have ever realized, and has never really. Well, I guess he has been credited it because he got a Golden Gods, I guess, and that's a massive thing. But yeah, probably had a huge impact, and it probably wasn't just Tony Iommi that was influenced by him. So with that now said and done, I guess we can truly now ask the question of what, should he have stuck to the day job, whatever the hell that was. I guess it was acting, but I'm gonna say no. I think most of us, I think most people, I think everyone would say no. That dude is just what a complete legend, and the world's a little bit darker for not having him about.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Absolutely. How old was he when he died, Mark?
He was 93.
Wow. Okay. So I absolutely agree with you. It's quite, for the first one, it's quite a hard one because you almost think, yes, you should have stuck to the day job, but only because you were so fucking good at it. Like everything that this man produced.
Did you just throw an F-bomb in there?
Oh, this is off the record. There's no rules on this. You're
really?
Drinking a bottle of, what is it, Doom Bar?
Yeah. Wait, hang on. I was drinking on the show. Were we not supposed to do that?
Other ales are available. No, we were. Who cares? But yeah, he was so good at everything he did. Yeah, you almost say, yeah, more acted. But the music that he just produced, and it's not just because it's him as well. I think sometimes, and something that we may find with this feature moving forward is that some really great actors, or I don't know, comedians, models, reality TV stars, whatever, really likable people, really good at what they do. And when they then venture into music, you almost want to like it. And of course, that's the case with this, but you do. It's just incredible music.
I mean, like on a personal taste, I mean, it wouldn't be, I listened to a few songs of the Charlemagne songs. I mean, like, it's not going to be something that I would listen to every day. And it was the attraction of having Christopher Lee kind of have that, baritone voice.
Yes, what a silky
doing
smooth.
things. And I could pick holes in a few things and say, I didn't really like the sort of guitar part and stuff like that, and not really my thing and stuff. But it's it's based on perception, isn't it? It's based on your personal preference.
Yeah.
But as for the whole respect of thinking, wow, that's Christopher Lee, and he's like, at this point, the first one I was listening to, it was the first album. I think he was 89, 88 when he did that one, and yeah, it would have been about 88, and then 91 when he did the second one. And it's just like, wow, here's a 91-year-old. I'm going to be struggling to even control a bowel movement probably if I even make it to that age, let alone making a metal album. So yeah, what an absolute hero!
Yeah,
what an absolute hero, and yeah, probably one of the biggest contributors to metal ever. Actually, one of the biggest influences.
I couldn't agree more. Like you said, certainly when you take into account, like you said, the music that's been inspired by some of his earlier roles and things like that. So no, I agree, absolutely not. In terms of the answer to the question, no, he shouldn't have stuck to the day job. He was absolutely right to venture into music and into metal. And as you said, Mark, rest in peace, Sir Christopher Lee.
Right.
Now, there is a really, really good article about Sir Christopher Lee and this whole debate about stick to the day job, and a bit of a kind of introduction to it on the website. That's making-noise.com. As we speak now, Mark.
Written by yours truly.
Yes, absolutely. Well done. It's
credit.
a really, really good piece. As we talk now, the website is being launched tomorrow. Really good website, really looking forward to it. So do go over to, check it out. Definitely subscribe as well. You will receive regular newsletters, updates, and reminders of upcoming shows. The next Making Noise episode, that's episode 2, will be airing on Pure West Radio. That's purewestradio.com on the 19th of April at 9 p.m. We've got quite a lot coming up on it. Not as much as we had in episode 1. We've learned the hard way. I will be interviewing the Undateable star Daniel Wakeford, who has autism, and we're going to be asking if music has a positive effect on autism and people with autism, I'll say. So really looking forward to that one and catching up with Danny, because I'm a big fan of
really
his.
Cool.
Daniel is in a band called the Daniel Wakeford Experience, so do go over and make sure that you have a look and see what he's up to, because he's absolutely brilliant. What a nice guy. We've got lots of music, lots of discussion, and you're just not going to want to miss it. We've got the cover up. We will return for the second feature of Stick to the Day Job. Mark, are you going to disclose now who we're going to be talking about, or are you going to leave that as a surprise?
I can't even remember which one I was going to do. I know I had like 2 or 3 in mind.
Let's leave it then. I'm going
to leave it. I'm going to leave it. I know. Yeah, no, I know who I'm probably going to do. It's okay.
Well, I'm looking forward to it based on the options that
we've already discussed.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it. So that's pretty much it from me. Mark, anything to add before we sign off?
No, I think we're good. Thank you so much to everyone who's listened to our first show, and to 3 or 4 people who might listen to this one. It's been great.
If that's the case, then I've enjoyed it, so I don't care.
I've enjoyed it. It's been good, isn't it? It's just nice to have that human contact again.
Of course.
We didn't actually talk. Oh my God, we didn't actually talk about coronavirus.
Well,
this whole thing.
Let's try not to. But it is weird.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're doing this from home. Normally, we would have been in the studio across each other, across the desk. So yeah, it is a little bit strange, but I'm enjoying it, and I feel like the pandemic has opened up a lot of, for all its horrible, awful negatives, all of the people that have suffered and lost and things like that. I feel like it's brought us some alternative avenues. We've had to evolve. We've had to look at new ways of working, and we've done that. And I actually think that we wouldn't have Making Noise without it. So
yeah, what I think, for what we could do, especially even, on an interpersonal scale, like with the show, I think we've rocked it. I'm going to say it. I'm going to put it out there. I think we've rocked it for what we were presented, and it definitely gave me a new respect for like a lot of then other artists and radio shows and that have had to do the same thing. You kind of don't really think about it. You think, oh well, no, they just do it over Zoom now. That's no worries. And then we did it ourselves. And I thought, oh my God, this is fucking difficult, man. This
and
is
terrifying.
Really difficult.
How scary! Like honestly, I was so scared. It's and more so, I actually think that being in the studio and having the mic in front of me and everything, I think that is kind of like a bit of a safety blanket. I think that I also almost kind of get lost in that moment, and I just get on with it. And now I'm comfortable in my own home, sat at my desk, and it's just like, whoa, we're actually doing this.
You're kind of inviting the world in, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's terrifying.
It's weird.
No one
needs to see my room.
We'll leave it today, Mark. Thanks for joining me for this.
We didn't have Mike on this one either, Mike or anyone. We didn't have
Mike
or Ian or anything.
There was no Mike. There was no Ian.
Then again, we've done it before. So
yes, and I think that's the thing with these Making Noise ones. I think we only really decided this evening that we were going to do it. So the Making Noise normal episodes on Pure West Radio are all going to be very professional, very structured, and we're going to know exactly what we're doing. This is very much off the cuff. and just us having a catch up, talking about some of the things we didn't have time for. A couple of things just to end on. As I said, I really, really love everybody out there to head over to making-noise.com. Have a look at everything on there. Give us your feedback. You can get in contact with us, sign up to subscribe and everything else. Also, make sure you come and follow us and like us on the socials. We are Making Noise on Facebook, and we're Making Noise UK, all one word, on Instagram. We're going to look into things like Twitter and YouTube over the coming months. It's really all kind of moving very quickly for us at the minute, isn't it? So we're kind of scrambling at the minute, if you like. And lastly, if you are a musician, if you're an artist, if you're in a band or a solo artist, do get in touch with us. Either drop us an email at studio@purewestradio.com, and if in the subject box you can just put Making Noise so that we know it's for us, or you can get in contact directly to us either on our website or on the socials. So I think we'll leave it there for tonight, Mark, and we'll look forward now to the next episode, which is episode 2 on the 19th of April at 9 p.m. live on Pure West Radio. There we are. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. See you guys there.
Bye.